Okay. We should be just about live, or we should be live now. Alright, we're just finishing getting set up here. Ah, there's fuzz in my water. That's no good. Okay. Did I get it all? Nope. Still like culprit lagging behind. Uh-oh. We didn't want to do that. Alright. So, we are back. It is Saturday. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday. Stream Elements is deciding to either... There it goes. Okay. It's being a little fussy today. Alright. So, last week we started this guy. We are doing an acrylic painting on canvas. I feel like this bag is creating more problems for me than it's worth. We might be able to get that into a finer point. Let's see. So this thing came in a bag and a tube, and I'm not sure if the bag is worth it. I've only used a couple of these guys so far. Oh, you know what? Let's take you. We'll start with you today. I mean, I guess if you don't want to keep the tube, the bag is nice, I guess, but I feel like the bristles are gonna get stuck on them. The fuck? That's not how this works. Sir? Sir. Oh my god. Hi, that just happened. I really wanted to use you. Did you just, like, not get glued? I feel like you didn't get glued. Right. I mean, I guess I could glue you, but I wanted to use you today. Tacky glue will be of no use. My other glue is across the room. I'm so sad now. I have taped paintbrushes back together before. I don't have any pliers to even try to crimp it on there. Alright. You were brand new out of the packaging. Brand spanking new there, buddy. Let's try the almighty painter's tape that's not supposed to stick to anything, that actually sticks to almost everything. How long does it take your super glue to dry?
I do not know why.
Could I have a tiny drop?
Yeah, give me just a second.
the glue I have is going to take forever to dry, and I don't know how waterproof it is.
Alright, what am I gluing? I don't know if it's going to glue fast enough for immediate use here. So if you're using that now...
I've also got tape.
I mean, it's still not good to use it while it's trying to dry here.
Say, damn it.
Yeah, you're going to have to use a different brush for a little bit, dear.
I wanted to use that one. I pulled the plastic off of it, and the top stayed in the plastic. I was like, what?
Alright, let it dry. Let it dry at least 24 hours, I'm guessing, if you're going to be using it.
Well, that just burned my ass. Alright, well, I guess we pick a different brush then. I mean, the tape might have worked, but it might have also made it wiggly. Yeah, see, like, this one's like the brushes, the brushy thingies are like all over the place, so. Just want somebody I can get into like a plenty. Well, we'll see how you do. Alright, so anyhow, when we left off, we had started putting some base coats in. Right now, I think we're gonna work on our sun here. And start to get him figured out. Alright, I'm just gonna go little bits of paint at a time, because we don't need to go too much paint at once here. Starting to see all of my scratch marks that I have built up on this guy from cleaning him. That was just me trying to get the stubborn stuff off that wasn't thick enough to just peel. It scratched off just fine. Left some scratch marks on here though. But I'm okay with that. That isn't a huge deal. This isn't an important palette. It's literally just an old lid to a container that we're not using anymore. I know that we did these in different shades of yellow when I was doing that base coat in there. But I think I'm pretty good to come back in this way. And we are back into our craft paint. I tried to give the Arteza acrylic a fair shake, and I will use it from time to time. But I do actually prefer using it on paper. As opposed to canvas. It's a little too shiny for me on the canvas, but that's just more of a me thing than anything. I'm used to working with the more matte craft paint, so I don't know if all of the artist tubes are quite that shiny as they're drying. But when there's a bit of glare kicking up, I have a harder time seeing what I'm doing. I'm squinty enough as it is, where I don't really want to add more to the squinty if I don't necessarily have to. I get it. Sorry, there was a fuzz in there. And I'm not certain I got it. I guess if I didn't, it will turn back up here. So, yeah, I hope everybody's Saturday is going fairly well. Hope you're off to a good start. For your little weekend. So we can still see some of our pencil line beaming through. I'm thinking once we get all of our colors put in here properly, it probably shouldn't be so much of an issue. That one we kind of went way off the rails on. Not all that surprising. I mean, it is me. Okay, we do have some darker colors kind of peeking through around the corners there. It's probably fine once we start getting everything in. And I don't know how this is gonna go. This could potentially end up being like just a big fail. We will see. And if it's a big fail, then it's a big fail. Right? They can't all be winners. Okay, so we kind of have our base colors down. So our lines kind of have like a pinkish hue to them. Like I said, this is all going to be very new. To us here. Because I've not quite painted like this before. So we're gonna see. Alright. Just kinda hoping to give that a minute. So let me see. Light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light. I mean, it's not gonna be that dark. I don't have that many dark yellows. Who is this? Macaroni yellow. Macaroni yellow. And we'll put my white there. Okay. We need the citrus yellow. Don't know that I've... Okay, so I have used this one. Just not all that much, it seems, because that bottle is pretty full. Okay. I'm gonna grab our macaroni yellow. And I just kind of want to, just trying to get like a base circle going. Our inside section is still kind of wet. So there's only so much we're going to be able to do there. And our yellows are pretty transparent here. So I know in our test sketch, and even in the photos, some of our, or just about all of them, have like a pinkish tinge to them. I think I'm only gonna do the pinky tinge on some of them. Like maybe the back sitting ones. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Probably not a good think, but I think that's what we're... Hi, Momo. Hi. That was very sad. What's up? Momo has to pee. You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come here, buddy.
That was a very upsetted Momo. I have no idea how long he was standing there.
Hi, buddy. I know. Daddy mowed the lawn. Time to go outside.
Daddy breathed and it was time to go outside.
Yeah, probably.
Oh. This one is pretty thick. Still transparent, but pretty thick. So you can still see our gosh darn pencil lines through there. They are really being stubborn. Aren't they? And with enough coats, we'll get them covered, but kind of hoping we weren't gonna have to do sorry, words have been getting jumbled today. I'm tired. I was hoping we weren't gonna have to do that many base coats here. Before we jump in. Pretty windy today. It's always windy, it seems. At least every day that I'm streaming, it likes to be windy. At the very least. And that's just like refusing to cooperate over there. That is kind of wild. The power of graphite, man. Can't even really say lead anymore because I don't know if pencils are still made with lead. I always called them pencil lead. I don't know if they've always been graphite, but I doubt it. We just used a basic number 2. I tried to pick up all of our excess graphite with our kneaded eraser. This whole section in here just wants to be stubborn. Okay. I'm gonna rinse that. Well, we're gonna try to rinse that. Okay, so I'm going to take a little bit of our Oh, what was this one? Bright yellow. Sorry, I was trying to read it upside down. It wasn't working too well. But mix just a little bit of white into that. And I'm just gonna wet my brush. Just a little bit. Okay. And I think I'm gonna grab another bristle scoop of white. Wow, that wind, man. Sounds like a damn calliope out there. Doesn't it? Sounds like Dad's had enough of the wind. That wind started picking up pretty good out there.
Susan, you want your turn?
Did Trouble come back?
Not yet. Susan, do you want to go outside? Susan.
Or is he here for the goodie?
Do you want to go outside? Come on. No, your tail goes down. Okay. You're just here for the goodie. Yeah, your tail wiggles. Okay. At least he's readable.
Yeah. What was this one? That was this guy. And then grab some of the citrus. And then we'll grab some white to the citrus. Okay. So this is we're gonna see how this goes. I don't know how it's gonna go. We will see. It might just look like weirdly blended bits of yellow. You should really be over here, I think. I think that will probably make me feel a little bit better. Yeah, see, I guess because it's all still wet, it's just kind of blending together. It's not really doing what I was hoping it was gonna do. Oh no, that's not good. I spurted pink paint everywhere. I mean, the t-shirt I don't really care about. The other shirt, though, I kind of do. I'll have to see how this ends up working out here. The concept seemed a little bit easier on paper. Then it's really working out to be in practice here. We'll see, we're not giving up yet. We'll see. Maybe I just need to let everybody kind of dry first. Maybe that's what we really need to do. Could just be all it's gonna need. Is just a chance to set up so I'm not constantly coming back in. Oh, it's gonna be hard to do the yellow at first, I think. This is a bit more of a transparency guy. We'll see, we'll give it a fair shot. Like I said, this is sort of a new way of going about it for me. This could end up being a ginormous fail. We will see how this goes. Kind of trying to remind myself that the whole thing doesn't need to be filled in. Not even sure how much of this is coming through. On the camera. Just kind of hoping that this other spur would have been a little bit more dry. By the time I came back over to him. Okay. So I'm just adding a little bit of water. It's starting to dry out just a little. And this set was pretty thick to begin with. Just kind of grabbing our darker yellow here. Just adding a few more lines here because I don't know how much of it is coming through. I know I'm having a slightly hard time seeing the difference. So this is our, what was this? This was the macaroni yellow. Feels weird to be painting this way because I don't normally. So it's kind of like going against everything that I normally do. But it's not so bad. Just trying to keep reminding myself that I don't want to fill in every square inch with the same shade here. I mean, that's kinda getting the point across. Kinda. For what we've done so far. And I imagine this is probably much easier to pull off. Well, no, it might not be that much easier to pull off with oil. Because oil likes to blend. And I don't necessarily want to be too blendy here. Like a little bit of blend's okay. Small amount. But I'm just really trying to layer up my colors here. So I don't think this would have really worked that well with gouache, because the colors would probably just melt into each other. I mean, we probably could pull it off with gouache if we were careful. Might be a challenge for a different day to attempt. I mean, I was also tempted to try to do this as kind of more of like a stained glass piece, where we have some like black outlining happening. Don't know that I'm gonna do that on this one. I think I'd rather have more solid color happening here for that. Just taking our unlightened macaroni yellow here. Just kind of coming back in just a little bit. I don't want to go too heavy, because then we'll just be undoing everything we've done, right? So just a couple of tap-ins here and there. So hard to restrain thyself. I just want to do like a complete long stroke to fill it in, and I'm like, no. Shorty short, guys. Alright. Like I said, this could end up just being like a complete and utter fail. We will see. If it is, well, hey, we tried. We tried to do something new. One wind chime is particularly loud today. Very much so. I'm not sure if Russell came back in with Zuzu or not. Kind of lost track. Of that. I don't hear him outside talking to the dog, but that doesn't mean much. He could just be sitting there reading. Or he could have went and got in the shower. Or he could be making himself lunch. I don't know. What time is it anyway? 1 o'clock for me, at the very least. So we still have to figure out what we're gonna do with those other ones. We might make the other ones the pinky ones. Potentially. Potentially. Alright, I'm gonna grab some of our unaltered citrus here. That noise came from our pantry. Don't know if it's a person. Or if it's a cat. Because the one cat likes to climb into our pantry. Our pantry doesn't have doors, so it's just open shelves, which can be problematic at times because he likes to get in there and knock stuff off the shelf. And he likes to rip open bags that make crinkly noises. Basically causing all sorts of trouble. We will see. The noise stopped, so it might have been it's either Russell or the mother-in-law. And I'm not sure which is currently the case. So that's kind of pretty white. Might be a little too white. See if we can tone that down just a little bit. Like, I know it needs a little bit of white, but that might have been a little too much. See what we can do here. Alright, that's not too bad. Okay, we still have a little bit of white in there. I think this actually needs to be a little bit wetter. Right, like it's a little thick. I think might be a small issue here. Alright, not too bad. So I feel a little silly building up all these layers here. I just keep covering them up, but these colors are a little bit transparent here, and I know that you're really probably supposed to do this while it's all wet because you want a small degree of blending happening here, but with this paint, it's either all of the blending or like none of the blending. Once in a while, well, not once in a while, but if the paint is too wet, when you're coming back in with either more of the same color or a different color, it starts to lift it up. I've noticed. That might just be a thing with this paint. Which is possible. Seems like it's gonna be a loud, revvy traffic day. And that's just the way it is around here. All of the loud revvy traffic as of late. That one might have gotten a little bit white heavy, but it is a pretty bright section here. Okay, so we got those outer guys. And I wasn't gonna go like full on Death Star pink here. Maybe we go coral. Coral might blend in a bit better here. Kind of got that. That looks like a crab claw. Kind of got that like orangey undertone to it to begin with. Just trying to get this a little bit more flowy for us. Now I'm either gonna have to switch palettes in a minute or clean this one. I'll probably just swap. It might just be easier. Just do a little swapperoo. Okay, so I'm just kind of taking our coral color that I mixed in with a little bit of our base bright yellow, which I feel like wasn't named appropriately because it seems to be a bit of a duller yellow, honestly. I'm gonna knock that over. I can feel it coming. Maybe it is the husband in the kitchen. Maybe he did come back in and I just wasn't paying attention. Oh yeah, it is him in the kitchen. I see Zuzu's harness hanging up now. he never took them. That's right. Wow, I'm really not paying attention today. I'm tired. If that wasn't apparent already. Okay, so I'm gonna grab a little bit of the base coral and just streak in a little bit of that. Not too much, just a little. Just a little bit. That got a little carried away on the tip there. Okay. So now we've got a little bit of our coral. And I'm going to take some of our macaroni yellow. Probably would have been easier just to, I guess, add a drop to it. Maybe. Okay, so that is definitely a different shade. Not sure if I should add any of it to the front of the sun. I don't think I will. Just so that they have their own little bit of separation here. So this is getting a bit more of a orangey color to it here. It's like I don't want it to, for what I'm doing. Our picture is just an inspiration picture. We're kind of doing our own thing here with it at this point. I wasn't really trying to completely replicate it anyway. But yeah, we're definitely doing our own thing here. So I think I want those darker colors to feel like they are behind. Sorry, my eyes are itchy. We're under a high pollen forecast for today. Not sure if today is high tree or high grass, but Russell also did finish cutting the grass this morning. And he had been cutting the grass yesterday because it had to get done. Because city gets fussy about that. Okay, I'm gonna go 2 brush scoops of coral. That's 1 brush scoop of citrus. Let's go for 2. See what color we end up with. Alright, it's definitely a lighter shade. 3. Oh, that middle one's definitely very like Cheese Whiz orange. Like a little bit muted, but maybe we'll go one more. That'll probably do. I'll still pick up a little bit of our yellowness. We still have a bit of our yellow feel to it. And that was also giving the colors that we had down a chance to dry in there. Before we came back in. And we're gonna have some of the yellow shine through. Just a bit. Don't know if I'm gonna take any white to the coral. I was trying to keep it a little bit darker. On that back section, but I mean, I suppose we could add a little bit of white to this color. I mean, that would probably be okay. Just a small amount. It's definitely a different shade. We don't need a whole lot of it. Gonna have to figure out, where have you been?
I was learning how to boil an egg.
I thought you already knew how to do that.
Not really. It hadn't been successful last time, but this time it was.
You sure I don't need to make your soup? Because that cheese is gonna have a shelf life on it.
Yeah, but it should have a fairly long shelf life.
Okay, so it's kind of hard to see what we did so far because of the way the lighting is. At least I think it is. Could just be my eyes. I'm not sure how much of that's coming through on the camera because it's very bright. It's very light colors against a very dark background here. Alright, so let's get some fresh water here. Oh, the lid's already off. Silly person. That's okay. I spent the longest time sitting here thinking, wow, you've been outside with Zuzu for a really long time. Before I remembered that you never took Zuzu out. And that the noise I was hearing probably was you in the kitchen. Okay, just wanted to rinse out the yellow that we had going in there. Put the lid on that for now. Okay, so our background was this dark green color, right? How do I want to do this? Ow. Okay. Now we're gonna have like other colors in here. So we used deep green black. We'll start out with just a little bit. One scoop of white, 2 scoops of white, 1, 2, 3 scoops of our green, feels too light. But that's okay. We can start out with that. That should be alright. Can always come back in with a darker shade as we get there. I don't have many shades of this. So that's why we're mixing white and yellows into stuff. Just to kind of see where we're gonna end up. Sorry, I need it to be a little bit flowy. And not quite so thick. Okay, so it's a little nerve-wracking, but see how it goes. We might have to do a few layers back and forth to get the color fill in to where I want it to be. You know, I suppose we could have done this with our dot stylus. I wonder what that would have looked like. That might have been interesting. Potentially. Don't know for sure. It might have been more trouble. In the end. But I don't know. So this was 2 paintbrush scoops of white and 2 paintbrush scoops of our dark green black. We'll see how it starts to look. I mean, it's gonna blend. It's gonna be thinner in some spots than others, just as it dries. Not sure if I'm gonna add any of our coral. We might. Don't know yet. Now I'm just kind of hoping that I mixed enough of this. I probably didn't. Because I usually either am forever not mixing enough, or I mix way too much. We will probably come back in and add a bit more white to this section around the sun here. So if I do the coral, it'll probably be kind of around our sun here. Maybe. I'll have to see how that goes. So we can still see our background base color in here. And a fuzz. It's just kind of hanging out there, it seems. This reminds me of our tissue paper stuff. I kind of want to do this one in tissue paper now. Like, I'm not gonna rip this apart and start putting tissue paper in unless it looks really bad when we're done. Like, if I'm just not happy with it. By the time we're done, we could do that just so we don't waste the canvas. I mean, we could always reprime the canvas and put something else on there. If it comes to it. I do have quite a bit of gesso. We don't really have any clouds in our sky. Why was that sticky? That was weird. So this one also dries a bit darker. As we go here. Might be the black in this color. It has a slightly gray look to it. I mean, that's fine. Plus, we've got the dark base colors and the solid base color of this. Just kind of hanging out here. And we've got a few shade variations to go on the sky, although the sky's oddly looking a lot like how I do my water on my other paintings, so I'm kind of getting a little head trippy here. I'm like fighting against part of my brain. It's like, you're doing it wrong. So like I said, this is a little new for me, doing the entire thing like this. And we don't run stream avatars on painting days, or art days really. Since I need to use a lot of the painting files to do speed paints with, because I don't have time right now to work on other stuff just for YouTube. Okay. Like started out with the shorter strokes down there. And then up here, started making them longer again. Because, you know, silly brain. So hope everybody's enjoying their weekend. Let me know what you guys are all up to this weekend. Anybody have any fun plans? It's like half hanging off, so my arm was laying on it, and it was precariously lifting up. Like, I have the light turquoise that we could potentially add into this. I just don't know if it would be too bright. I think it's in a slightly different color family for sure. hopefully the music and the cars going by doesn't get us in too much trouble. Because that would suck. Just a bit. Okay, just a little bitty bit. Now, because of all of the lovely scratch marks I've added to this lid, and since these are a little bit watered down, I'm probably gonna have to actually take these guys to the sink and actually wash them. Or I'll just have to bring a spray bottle and spritz our palette here and just kind of let it soak for a little bit. So just a little. I still need to get the edges of our canvas here. Who is hitting my chair? Somebody just hit my chair. I don't think it was Momo, because Momo usually gurs. Might have been Little, but I'm not certain. Or maybe it was a house ghost. Who really knows? Hard to say. Okay. It's getting a little bit harder to see. Let me move the flamingo tile and the pencil sharpener so I don't accidentally knock them off the back of the desk, because that would definitely not make me happy. I mean, the pencil sharpener wasn't that much, but the tile I would be a bit upset about. I mean, I'd be upset about the pencil sharpener too, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. I might be just short on this color that we mixed. Oh dear. Actually, we might be a little bit more than just short. Because I still need to get the edges. Try not to come too far into our rocks here, but I have a feeling there's going to be a couple spots where we overshoot. So it's definitely looking different. We will see how the rest of this guy comes together. But yeah, it totally has the tissue paper vibe to me at the moment. Not the same, obviously. But it does feel like it a little bit. Alright, so I need to mix a little bit more, whatever we end up doing for our next color here. Now we could certainly go with a slightly larger brush. This is true. But, excuse me, this guy being small will actually help me remember that I want shorter strokes here. and that I'm not trying to paint in solid. Okay, it's gonna be a little hard to see what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just working on our edge here. Let's see. There we go. It's going to be a little bit easier, I think, for you guys to see. Now, this isn't a gallery wrap canvas, but it is back stapled, so in theory, this wouldn't necessarily need to be framed. So I just want to work on our edge here. At least give it a little bit of attention. At least a little bit. Sorry, I forgot. You guys can't see when I tilt it that far back. But then I can't see either, so I can kind of see what we're doing here. Like, our edge doesn't have to be super perfect. Ooh. There I go, elbowing stuff on my desk. That's nothing new. Okay, I just need to get this little bit over here. Like, the sides don't have to be as on point, but okay. So it's starting to look like something, I guess. Alright, I'm gonna clean off my brush. Just to keep too much paint building up. Alright, so that was 2 scoops of white. We're gonna need some more white down. Okay, so we're gonna call that 4. 1, 2, see what shade we get with this. If it's not quite different enough, it's the same ratio, so it's probably going to be the same shade, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. So we probably need to go, yeah, it's the same exact shade. We need like 1 scoop of green, not 2. Like I said, my brain's tired today. I catch on eventually. I know some people are like, well, you just make the same shade. Yeah. Yeah, I did. It happens. Alright, we'll get a little bit more white. It would be easier if this particular paint had some lighter shades to it, but it didn't. So like, it is slightly lighter, but is it light enough? I don't know. And I've lost track of how many scoops of white we've done now. Probably should have just started over. I feel like it is a lighter shade, so... Alright, let's roll with this. Just getting some water mixed in, because I want it a little bit thinner. I think it's a lighter shade. I don't know by how much, but it's lighter. Oh yeah, that is definitely lighter. Alright, so I'm just gonna come in and start laying this guy in. I think I want that to be a little bit more watery though. Feels a little thick still. Just a little bit thick. So I don't normally mind it thick, but for what I'm doing, kind of want it to drop off the brush a little bit easier without looking like a wash though. I don't want to go as thin as a wash or a glaze even. I do want a little bit of flow happening here. So we've got that dark, deep green, black as our base in here. And then we added just a little bit of white to some of that same base color. And we did a layer of liney goodness over that. And now we're coming back in with a little bit more white mixed into the same color. Just kind of doing the same thing coming into here. I'm probably gonna have to turn this again in a minute because I have a tendency to add this little like hook on my paintbrushes. Like I'm not going in a straight line, I'm kind of doing it in a slight curve. I think the only thing that's gonna not make that quite so obvious if I end up turning this guy. I try not to turn him sideways too much and upside down and stuff because I know sometimes it's a little hard to make out, or some people don't understand that no, we are upside down on purpose, at least for a little bit, especially if you've just walked in. Alright, so hope everybody's having a good Saturday. Our Saturday's been a little strange. Like, it started out a little bit sunny, but there's also rain nearby on the radar, and then it looked like it was gonna get rainy and started clouding up, and it's been chilly. Like, we had several days in the 80s, and then we plummeted back down into the high 40s and 50s. Which would have been nice to have the window open, but the pollen is going batshit crazy. So I can't really have the windows open and still be able to breathe properly. Alright, so I think we're gonna turn there. guys can kind of see. So, I mean, it doesn't really look that much lighter than the color that's down already. It is, though. It is a little bit lighter. Not by a tremendous amount, no. But, like, this was the first color, and then that's the other color, so. There is a slight difference to it. I might add a little bit of light turquoise. I don't know though. I'm a little hesitant to do so, because I feel like that might be maybe a little bit too light. Maybe if we add some light turquoise into this green. Providing it doesn't make it too muddy. So do you guys like to paint? Do you just like to watch other people paint? Do you dabble at all? If you dabble, what is your medium of choice? Crowns, colored pencils, watercolors, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Macaroni, mosaics. Wall murals, spray paint, tie-dye, sewing, quilting, embroidery. I want to learn embroidery. I keep seeing all these embroidery videos popping up on my Instagram feed. And part of me is like, that is so cool. Another part of me is like, girl, your brain will never remember all those different stitches. I mean, I've dabbled a little bit in cross stitch, a teeny tiny bit. I remember doing one of those like kids needle pointing kits when I was younger. My one grandfather was really into the needle point, and I think he also did the one latch hook rug that was hanging up in my one grandparents' house. But he seemed to really like the needle point. He'd have all these little cardboard things with slots cut in them so that he had his colors separated and all. I remember him doing that for the longest time. So I mean, it is slightly lighter. It's drying a little bit darker, but we need to get a bit lighter here. Our sky wasn't really quite this dark. And it doesn't have to be the same shade, but I would like to get it a little bit lighter. And normally I just paint everything in solid, so this one's kind of a new style for us. Not quite impressionistic, but teeny bit. That's also a teeny bit of kind of line art, just not like traditional line art, where it's all one color. Oh, right. Need to change how I'm sitting. Doesn't seem to matter how I'm sitting. I always seem to find myself sliding out of my chair. No matter what direction we're facing. Need to get some butt grips or something on this chair. There goes the wind chimes again. Sometimes I tune them out and don't realize that they've stopped going quite as strong until they start back up again. I'm like, oh hey, well, that sound was missing from the background for a minute. Just trying to make sure our paint doesn't dry out on me here. We went to all that trouble mixing it. that wouldn't be cool. Yeah, not really. So I'm still working on the speed edit of the flamingos. My husband is working on his editing pass on the episode 10 for the Bob Ross speed felt. Probably going to be a couple weeks before that one's done. Sorry, I gotta get some water on this guy. He's trying to solidify on me here. And I'm not ready for him to do that just yet. Alright. And you know, you don't need fancy paint palettes and stuff. I mean, they're nice. But even I have to remind myself, you know what? Sometimes an old lid from a storage container that's no longer serviceable will suffice. Especially when you're just gonna get it all messed up with paint anyway. And then I won't feel so bad if I don't clean it and I get lazy and it gets really yucky and I'm like, I'm done with this. Yeah, I was just gonna get rid of it before anyway. Kind of deal. Alright. Let's see. We're a little zoomed in here, but we shouldn't be zoomed in too far that you can't see what we're doing. So I am trying to do the edges here a little bit. Edges aren't going to be super perfect, but I don't want to completely ignore them either. Because while this isn't a gallery wrap, it could still potentially be hung without being framed. Because framing is expensive. It is. And I can't really see my edges all that well until I get it back down. Alright, that's not so bad. Okay. So let's get back in there. Just working on our lighter shade here. So what's everybody working on today? Or is it just a lazy Saturday afternoon? Been a long week. Hi, Momo. Really, buddy?
What's up, deal? I suppose it's been a little
It's been a little bit.
You have to go outside again. Oh, stretches. Hi.
I have the bladder the size of a peanut.
I love you. Oh, I love you. What?
Because I am Momo. But he's a happy guy. He was all sorts of happy this morning. They get so excited after breakfast with my mom. There are so many wiggles that they can't contain the wiggles. Their tails are going 100 miles an hour. It is terribly adorable. Oh my gosh, Num Num's girlfriend is hanging here more and more all day. And the past 2 nights when we went to take the boys for a very short walk last night and the night before, we crossed the street with the dogs and all of a sudden we hear meow, meow, meow. And the night before last, Mimi crossed the street to follow us. Scared the shit out of us because traffic was non-existent yet. It hadn't calmed down for the night yet. And she followed us as we were walking the dogs. And then last night she tried to do it again. But I managed to get back to the house before she did it. So that was like, no, stay there. It was like this scared, don't leave me behind meow. I'm like, we'll be right back. What is the matter? So now tonight, I'm gonna have to stay outside on our porch. Okay, she materializes out from underneath of our neighbor's truck. Just to make sure she doesn't try to cross the street to follow both of us. I really wish I knew where she appeared from. If she actually has a home. Because she seems to think our house is her home. So we don't know quite what the deal is with her. But every time we start to reduce the cat numbers through life, another one shows up, and I'm like, we can't though. Although I have a feeling that we're either going to end up with her coming in, or if she's pregnant, one of her kittens. If she's not pregnant, then it might not happen until after we get back, if we end up going. At that specific time. Because, you know, hurricane season all. Never know. That's the plan. But we'll see. Okay. So let's bring this guy back around this way. Okay, so that was slightly lighter. I am tempted to mix some of our coral together here though. Alright, so coral was citrus. Don't really need that much of you, and there's a glumpy bit right there. One, two. This might be a little too much, maybe. Let's see, a little bit of water. I don't like it, I guess we can just kind of... Do we want to go this way, or do we want to go... I don't want a whole lot of this. Just a little bit. Around our sun here. This can be a little bit thinner because I don't want it fully taking over. Ugh. Sinuses are fully taking over. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to reduce how much Benadryl I was taking, because I didn't really feel like it was helping too much there for a couple of days. So I kind of cut back on it just a little. A couple of days I didn't have any. And it was manageable. But I think the WeatherBug app or website's the only one I've really found that tells me what the heck is actually blooming. Hello, Getafe! And I probably forgot and said that wrong. I hope I didn't. It's been a little bit since I've said it. Getafe? Getafe. The husband said it better than me. So sorry for the snuffles. It wasn't too wrong. Yeah, my brain. I try. I'm sorry. Oh, hold on. I've got to mute for just 1 second. I've got to blow my nose. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry. Very sorry. Allergy season is crazy. I'm just grabbing the one coral shade that we had mixed and kind of put around, or put into our sun. And now I'm just kind of adding it a little bit to our sky. Around our sun here. I don't know if I'm gonna like this when I'm done. I don't normally paint in this style, but I thought it'd be fun to give it a shot. 'Cause you never know. Might find something new. It had snow yesterday, so all the evil pollen is gone. Well, that's nice. I don't know if you are thrilled about the snow, but the evil pollen being gone is nice. I still haven't figured out what exactly it is that is trying to murder me here. It's either, like, I think it's a combination of grass, tree, and hay. There's a lot of hay fields around, or surrounded by them, but it's got to be something or a combination of something specific to this area, because when we leave the state, I feel better. I felt better when we were in Florida. I felt better when we were in Oklahoma. Not completely better in Oklahoma, but better than here. Like within 15-20 minutes of crossing the state line back into here, forget it. It was all downhill from there. Alright, I think we'll do... You don't mind snow, but your strawberries aren't too happy. Oh no. That's a problem. That's not too good. Shit, what color was this? Oh, it was this. And then some of our white. Now this stuff cleans up pretty easily off the palette once you re-wet it. So I probably should have done that in a new section just to keep any dried paint from getting too mixed in there. Well, I hope you've been well since you were last here. Our car's still giving us trouble. Had to break down and set up service on it for Tuesday. Husband went to his doctor's appointment Friday and nearly got stuck there. I'm hoping this is something that they can fix. And that it's not going to end up with us having to replace the car. Because that's going to be a big problem right now. We're hoping it's just like a cable getting replaced. But we'll see. Hopefully it will be a simple fix. I hope so. The terminal connectors, I think is what he said, that connect to the battery. One of them keeps getting nudged out of place. So then when he goes to start the car won't start. And like, we know that's what it is now. It's a brand new battery and it'll start to turn over, but it just won't go the whole way. We just don't know if it's fixable. We think it is, just not within our capabilities. And I think he's hoping that a new cable or something will fix it, because now it's becoming problematic. Like, we had to go to the store the other night, and the same night he was having trouble. No, I guess it was yesterday. Yesterday was when he got stuck at the doctor's office for a while, fiddling with it, trying to fix it. Because there's like a lot of potholes on our journey, and last night when he got home, I was looking at the car and I was like, hey, why is the hood not fully shut? He goes, oh, I must not have shut it completely. So he fixed that, and then that nudged the thing out of place again, and we had a problem with it while we were away, the end of January, beginning of February, where the trunk wasn't closing. Well, it wasn't latching, which was a problem. He knew what that deal was, though. There was a bolt that was loose. Sometimes he could tighten it back into place, and then it wouldn't be an issue for months. And then it would just start acting up, and it started acting up while we were away. To the point that, and you know, we were in and out of the trunk a lot with the luggage and everything, so that was a problem. And fortunately, there was a Walmart about 5 minutes from our hotel when we were down seeing my brother. So we were able to shoot over there, and he got some wrenches to keep in the car to re-tighten that whenever it starts acting up. And that took care of that. I think we only had to tighten it once or twice more. While we were away. And then this started after we got back, and I'm like, really? I mean, at least I waited till we got back. But there's like a lot of rougher roads that are not in the best condition that we were driving on the way there, and we're supposed to go back in September. And I'm like, is this gonna be a problem while we're away? He's like, well, I'm gonna get the car serviced before we go, and we'll get it sorted. So I was like, are we gonna have to like get a rental to do this? Because I'm a little nervous that this car is gonna decide that it's not gonna let you fix it. He goes, oh god, no. He goes, we're gonna get this sorted before we go. Well, the time has come. He hasn't fiddled with it since he tried to fix it last night. So when we tried to go to the store last night, it was like, yeah, no, you're not going anywhere. And I was like, seriously? And he just didn't feel like fighting with it last night, so he borrowed his mom's car. She's here right now. But this is becoming a problem. So hopefully it's a quick fix and an easy fix. Plus we need to get the oil changed and everything. I mean, I'm not surprised that stuff's starting to go funky with it. At least there was an alternative. Yeah, so we weren't completely screwed because his mom's here right now. But I don't know how long she's going to be here for, which is why we're like, yeah, we need to deal with this now. She might only be here for another couple of weeks. And my mom constantly has us running to the store. So we live in the mother-in-law's house. We're sort of taking care of it now while she travels with her sister. She just happens to be back right now. And my parents had ended up moving in because my dad was sick and he didn't have anywhere else to go. And then my mom ended up moving down with him. They were separated for a while and got their shit back together. So then it was both sets of parents and us in the same house for a while. But we're still here. And she'll be leaving again to go travel with her sister. I don't know when she's leaving actually. She's got some more doctor's appointments she has to deal with. I don't know. It might be maybe June or the end of May. I'm not really sure when she's gonna be heading out again, but we need to get this sorted now. Because I really don't want to have to deal with replacing the car now. The car hit 100,000 miles on it. Those are not all of our miles. We got that car used from the dealership. I think it's a 2013 Toyota Corolla. And that hit the 100,000 mark while we were away. I mean, a good number of those miles are ours. I think there might have been 15,000 on it when we got it. But we've also done quite a few road trips, moved my dad down twice from New Jersey. He ended up going back and then realizing things were not gonna be as he had hoped they would be when he went back. So we had to help him move back down again. It was about a, let's call it just under 1,700 mile trip one way to go see my brother. Alright, so now the question is, do we want to add in another round of white to this. Let's see what we can come up with. So that's 1 scoop, 2 scoops, 3 scoops of white. Let's go 3 scoops of white to 1 scoop of green. And see where that leaves us. Not that much lighter. We need to, that's a very strong color. I mean, it's a little bit lighter. Little. Let's go 1 more scoop of white maybe, and we need a little bit of water. A little bit more water. I mean, that's definitely lighter. Question is it going to be that light when it dries? Probably be a little bit darker when it dries. I think we can run with that color. Should be. Oh, careful. Don't be making a mess. What I do best, though, is making a mess. Spilling things, getting it all over me. I am not the type of person that can wear nice clothes when doing stuff like this. Watching other people's art videos and art vlogs on YouTube where they're in like nice white cream colored clothes, I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, because all I do is just envision the sleeves getting covered in paint, and just, I'm like, why? They must be a lot more careful than I am. Or maybe their cream colored shirt or white colored shirt is a bit more beat up than the camera's letting on. Sorry for not writing much. I had to translate miles into kilometers and am sewing at the moment. Hey, no problem. I'm used to being background noise for a lot of people, so you're quite alright. Okay. What time is it? Alright. Oh dear. Okay, that's fine. Alright, so we're gonna turn this guy. You know what? You know what we're gonna do? No, because I haven't told you yet. I'm gonna get the sides of this first. So, let's see. Get that done. And then I don't have to worry about it quite so much. And I'm a little zoomed in, so it's not picking up necessarily everything. Okay. we'll get this worked into here. We're going to be using this color again for the water, but we'll get there. I'm not going to do the water today. Today is just about working on our sky here. And we'll get this all worked in. Never said before, now you're trying a medieval dress. Why start simple when I can do something way out of your ability? Well, you know, some people like to throw themselves into the deep end and just go for it. Some people like the challenge. I kind of want to learn how to do embroidery. I've been seeing a lot of embroidery videos popping up on my Instagram feed lately, and it looks fun. But I don't know if I'm completely out of my league or not there. Probably am. And like, I certainly don't need to learn it, but after looking at all the stuff that other people make, I'm like, oh, that's so pretty. I would like to do that. It's not my known wheelhouse. But part of me would like to try, but then another part of me is like, I will never remember all those different stitches. Even if I make a piece that has all the different stitches on it, I will still forget how to actually do them. Because I get these lovely ideas and I'm like, yeah, I can do that. Let's do it. And I'm like, oh no. I just want to do all of the things. I want to get back into latch hook. I haven't done a latch hook kit in forever. Some of them are really expensive when I was looking at them the other day. I was like, oh my goodness. I do not remember these being that expensive before. There were a couple that I had seen that looked really awesome. And they were like $80, and I was like, oh my god. And there were some that were more than that. I'm like, you must be huge. Like, I saw the measurements, but I wasn't translating the measurements into existence in my brain. Like, I wasn't visualizing what that measurement looked like. Like, I needed to see it in front of me to see how big or small it was. I was like, right, I'll come back to this later when the husband's available and he can actually measure this out for me so I can have a better idea of what this is actually going to look like. Okay. Alright, I think we'll start down here next. Well, then my hand's going to be in it. Alright. that's okay. We'll just start up here. And it has to be done in 7 days. Then I will visit Medieval Festival, just hoping it won't rip or something. Well, I wish you the best of luck. You can do it. And if not, safety pin it. Or fabric glue or something if you get to be running out of time. Get the hot glue gun. And just pack some extra clothes with you just in case there's a wardrobe emergency. But hopefully you'll get it done in time. I will tell you how it survived and worked out great. I would love to know. My husband's always been better at sewing than I have. Sewing and I just don't get along that well, so while I would like to learn embroidery, I'm like, I don't know. This intimidates me quite a lot. Probably like how crochet and knitting intimidate me. Number one, my brain gets things jumbled a lot. I am dyslexic. I do I like to flip word placement more than letters. I will flip some letters around sometimes, but for me it's more of the placement of words and sentences, or sometimes I will take the back half of a sentence and shove it in the middle or in the front. And then I'm sitting there so confused, like, I don't understand what is happening. Or by flipping part of the back of the sentence into the front, it means something else entirely. I did that a lot in school when I was taking tests. And then when they were verbally going over the test in class, I got called on and they're like, reading out a question and they're like, so what's the answer? And I'm like, well, it's this. And then the teacher leaned over and they're like, well, why did you put that? And I'm like, why did I put that? But this was before accommodations were really made, and no one explained to me that I was dyslexic. I found out later when my mom told me. She's like, oh no, you were in those classes because you were dyslexic. I was like, that's not what anyone ever told me. She goes, well, yeah. And I was like, okay, well then they graduated me out of those classes because they're like, oh, you're better now. And I'm like, no, I think I just learned to cope with it a little bit better. But it's still very much there. I also have a transposing problem with numbers. I like to flip number order around sometimes, which was always an adventure considering I had to do bank deposits for the one place I worked at. And it almost got me fired from a job once. I was like, oh good. Like, this would have been really helpful to actually know that that's why I was in those classes. It's like, nobody ever sat me down and really explained it to me. And it would have been a lot easier to advocate for myself later and to get extra help later. It's like I hit 7th grade in school and they're like, oh, you're all better. You've improved so much. We're removing you from the program. And I'm like, I don't even understand why I was in this program to begin with, but okay. And then I kind of got thrown into the deep end of the pool with all the things I had missed from my regular classes when they pulled me out to go to the other classes. And I don't know, I was failed. Like, the system failed me. It was still kind of early for these programs to be coming into existence, but because, you know, girls didn't have these issues. Boys had them when I was growing up. Like, that's how the doctors saw things. No idea what the husband is doing, but he's making a whole bunch of noise. I don't know if I should be concerned or not. Like, he's banging around stuff in the other room. At least I think it's him. He's been missing for a little while. I mean, it's not terrible. It's definitely different than how I normally paint, so like I said, I think we'll omit the turquoise. I think that's going to be a little too bright. So I think we've decided that instead of selling at the farmer's market, that to just help get name out there, we might do a giveaway and set up a table and just like do a donation jar. For just whatever anybody feels like paying, if they feel like paying at all. That's probably only going to be some of the stuff that I have that I'm okay with just giving away. We tried to do that at the neighbor's yard sale last week. think I got like $3. But that wasn't really anywhere near the stuff that I have that we took over there, because we're saving some of it specifically for farmers market. Got a bunch of magnets and stuff. You'll go offline now. You have to go to bed soon. Okay, you have a great night. Good luck on your project. Thank you for popping in. Good luck on getting it done. Can't wait to hear how it worked out. Oh, I probably missed you. You probably long since left. I'm sorry. I'm a little slow to answer sometimes. I get so into what I'm doing, I forget to check the chat sometimes. And sometimes I have husband watching the chat. Like I said, he seems to have scampered off doing something. What? I'm not entirely sure. So hope everybody else is having a good day. I kind of wish it would just rain already, because it's like that weird kind of sunny but not. It kind of feels like it wants to rain. And I kind of need to know if it's gonna rain or not, because if it's not gonna, I need to water my seeds outside. So it would be nice to know what the outside things are gonna do here. We made some progress in our Planet Zoo build yesterday. And I realized I misspelled something last week. It was a slow start getting going, picking back up on that project yesterday, but we started to get into a rhythm. Had one idea that I was trying to see if it would work, but just wasn't gonna quite work out for me. If I'd had more patience, maybe I could have gotten it to work out a little bit better. Maybe. I have no idea what he is doing. I hope he's not making too big of a mess, because I'm about to make dinner. Like, I don't know if he realizes the time. We've got about a half an hour more today to work on this guy. Maybe, if we get that far. If we run out of this color, or if we finish with this color before the half hour's up, we might stop a few minutes early. It is definitely a lighter shade. I think our mountains here are going to be fun. Trying to get those worked in. And there's also going to be a bunch of trees coming in too. I just didn't bother blocking those guys in. Because we were just going to end up painting over them anyway. So it didn't seem worth the time. To go and put those guys in. And I was just gonna have to repaint them in anyway, and I want some of the background shining through them. So it seemed a little unnecessary. That was a very loud motorcycle. It just kind of joined the stream out of nowhere. certainly jarring. To say the least. Those guys got a little bit thicker than I necessarily wanted them to be. Now, I didn't get any time to work on the flamingo painting this week. I got busy with other stuff. What are you doing?
Oh, I made myself a sandwich.
Really? I'm gonna make dinner in like a half an hour.
I didn't realize it was that close, but I was that hungry.
You were like doing all kinds of banging and stuff out there. All that just to make a sandwich?
It was a bacon tomato sandwich. It took a lot longer than I thought it would.
No, like the amount of noise, I was surprised.
I kept having to check the bacon.
Oh, now you're not going to be hungry for dinner. So that was probably a little thick there. Amazing, even on the weekend, that around this time, traffic starts picking up. This is about the time school lets out during the week, and I'm like, oh, because it's school letting out. But, it's Saturday. And there's no school here on Saturday that I'm aware of. It's just a little bizarre. We're getting there. I can tell when my hand's starting to get tired though, because I'm starting to put a little too much pressure on our paintbrush. In certain parts. You missed Getafe. Getafe? Getafe. Maybe it's Getafe. Our overseas friend. Husband's not listening to me whatsoever. What? You missed Getafe? Getafe?
Oh. Sorry.
The name I can't pronounce right?
Hmm?
The name I can't pronounce right? I think maybe it is Getafe, and I keep saying Getafe. My brain does not want to pronounce that properly. Alright. I'm gonna flip you. Oh, it's resting on my one wire sculpture. And the base of it. Like, what is the noise?
Huh?
Nothing. That was not to you. My canvas got caught up on something. So it's not too bad. I'll have a better feel for it once we start getting our mountains put in here. Right, everything has that weird look to it. Because you haven't gotten it to where it needs to be yet. Right, so I'll tell you, it's gonna be weird in a way. It's the first WoW expansion coming out in a long time where I won't be doing testing for Lita and WoW challenges. I mean, I'm not really playing anymore anyway, so I don't think I've logged into WoW in over a year now. Might be giving Diablo 4 another try when their loot adjustment patch happens. Alright, just a little bit more. That was a little thick there. I got a little nervous by how much was on our paintbrush. Really didn't want a thick glob right there to try to blend out. So that's not so bad. I mean, it looks weird against the blockiness of everything else. But we're getting there. Like, this isn't gonna be a one and done kind of deal, so. So we're gonna work on our mountains next week. We'll probably start with the darker one. And then go from there. But, I mean, it's not too bad. Kind of like it so far. It's different. Just wanted to do something to change it up a bit. And I think we definitely have. Tomorrow we'll be working on our needle felting with Bob Ross project tomorrow and Monday. Life and migraine permitting, as always. Don't forget to follow the links to all the socially things down below. We've got links to the Instagram, the Ko-fi, the Twitter, and the YouTube page. And I do thank all of you for hanging out with me this afternoon while I stumble my way through this, trying to figure out what I want to do with it. I think we're starting to get somewhere, slowly. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. I hope to see you all for needle felting tomorrow. And until next time, you guys, have a good one.